20 Best Tall Plants for Container Gardens. If you garden in a warmer hardiness zone, you can't go wrong with a large succulent as your focal point. And even if you live in a cooler climate, you can always grow a succulent as an annual or bring it inside for the winter. There are many agave species to choose from, ranging in size and appearance. Several commonly grown varieties reach a few feet in height and width. Agave can thrive in a relatively shallow, unglazed clay pot with excellent drainage. It prefers gritty soil, such as a cactus mix. A tall amaranth, such as Love Lies Bleeding Amaranthus caudatus or Joseph's Coat Amaranthus tricolor, can add color and drama to a container garden, reaching heights of around 2 to 4 feet. Choose a container with adequate drainage holes, as amaranth likes to be moist but not sit in water. These are annual plants, so you will either need to start seed early or buy plants every year. But the nice thing about annuals is they allow you to experiment and be creative. Elephant ear manages to be both imposing and fun at the same time. The plant sports large, arrow or heart-shaped leaves that some say resemble an elephant's ears, hence its common name. It reaches about 3 to 6 feet tall but only grows as an annual in most hardiness zones. When grown in a container, be sure to water the plant regularly, as it likes a moist environment. Feather reed grass is a cool season grass, which means it is an early riser in the spring and blooms early in the season. After flowering, it remains upright and tall, not floppy or weepy like many other grasses. It is perfect for the center of a container, growing from 3 to 5 feet. It prefers damp soil and can even tolerate poor drainage. Fountain grass looks good all season, with its burgundy leaves, spiky purple flowers, and purple-tinged seed pods. It has a wonderful way of swaying in a breeze and adds a rush of sound to your container garden. It also can make a good screen at 3 to 5 feet tall, giving you some privacy but still allowing sight. If you live outside of its hardiness zones, you can overwinter the plant indoors. Place the container in a relatively cool room with sun exposure, and water it sparingly. Bring it back outside once the danger of the last frost has passed. For a container in a shady spot, you can't do better than a fuchsia plant. These plants bloom throughout the entire growing season with no deadheading, removing spent blooms, necessary. Look for an upright variety, such as Baby Blue Eyes, Cardinal Farges, or Beacon, if you want it as a focal point. Fuchsia is susceptible to root rot, so be sure you select a container with adequate drainage holes, and use a fast-draining potting soil. Hibiscus plants look tropical, but many varieties are hardy to some cold. These multi-branched shrubs can easily be trained into flowering trees and grown in containers. Use a well-draining potting mix, and avoid a very deep container to prevent the plant from expending too much energy on developing roots. Chinese hibiscus, Hibiscus rosa sinensis, can reach around 10 feet tall, while Rose of Sharon, Hibiscus syriacus, can push 12 feet. The mountain cabbage tree looks like a small palm tree and makes an intriguing focal point in a container. It is not hardy below zone 9, but you can bring it indoors for the winter. Just be sure to keep the plant warm, and give it lots of light. In a container, it will grow to about 3 to 6 feet tall with a high-quality, well-draining potting mix. Trim back leggy stems when necessary. New Zealand flax is a spiky plant that can add color and interest to a container garden. With its rigid, sword-shaped leaves, the plant can reach around 4 feet tall when grown in a container. Choose a rich, organic mix over a regular potting soil for your container, and water the plant regularly. It should be brought inside to a sunny spot before the first frost if you live outside of its hardiness zones. If you love a tropical look, princess flower, also known as purple glory flower, is a beautiful evergreen shrub with stunning purple flowers. The plant grows well in containers on sunny patios, though it should be brought inside before the first frost. Also, place the container in a location that has some shelter from strong winds. Under ideal conditions, it can grow to about 6 to 8 feet. Bay trees are beautiful and functional. You can pluck fresh bay leaves right from your container. Bay grows slowly in a pot and can be pruned to maintain a manageable size of less than 10 feet. In its natural environment, however, the plant can grow as tall as 60 feet. You can trim it into a topiary or leave its natural shrubby shape. The plant typically grows slowly in a container and doesn't mind being a little cramped. However, make sure you use a pot that's sturdy enough not to tip over. Sweet bay is not hardy but overwinters well indoors. Yucca plants are about as hardy as you can get, and the newer cultivars are pretty enough to be the focal point of a container garden. Even the smaller varieties still grow to roughly 2 to 4 feet in height and width, so select a good-sized container. They do not always bloom in containers, but many people choose to cut off the flower stalks anyway and focus on the spiky foliage. Make sure you use a container with good drainage, and avoid overwatering to keep the soil on the drier side. An evergreen as the centerpiece of a container garden is elegant, classic, and low maintenance. Choose one that will hold its shape nicely without a lot of pruning. A good option is emerald green Arborvitae, a semi-dwarf cultivar that grows in a narrow pyramid shape to around 7 to 15 feet tall. Plant it in a large pot with high-quality soil, and it should live in your container garden for many years. Bamboo can be a nightmare in the garden, spreading faster than you can control. But in a container, bamboo is a conversation piece. Some types prefer more temperate climates while others like heat and humidity. It's the clumping varieties of bamboo, as well as the ones with smaller runners, that do best in containers. They might not grow to their fullest potential, but some still can reach heights of 10 to 20 feet. Just make sure you use a container with adequate drainage holes, as soggy soil can inhibit the plant's growth. Big Bluestem is a lovely ornamental grass that can adapt to a container. If you are mixing it with other plants, use a large container, or Big Bluestem will crowd out its neighbors. This grass can grow about 4 to 6 feet tall with a spread of 2 to 3 feet. Make sure you don't overwater or add too much fertilizer to Big Bluestem, as this can cause it to flop over. Likewise, too much shade can result in poor growth, so place the container where it will get at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day. Bougainvillea is only hardy in zone 9 and up, but you can opt to grow it as an annual or bring it indoors for the winter. It's technically a vine, not an upright plant, so you will need to provide some support for it to grow vertically. Still, it's a vigorous grower, and its blooms look stunning crawling up a wall or trellis. Boxwood shrubs can be formal or funky. The real fun of using this plant is you can trim it to be anything you want. If you would like to exercise your creative flair, try a boxwood topiary. When left to grow, it can reach heights of about 5 to 15 feet. Choose a pot with good drainage, as boxwoods can suffer from root rot. Also, a little shade during the hottest part of the afternoon is preferable. With their large, showy flowers, canna plants can add instant tropical flair to a container garden. In most zones, this plant is an annual, but you can attempt to carry it through the winter indoors in a sunny spot. On the plus side, it will flower multiple times throughout the summer, and its cultivars grow from about 2 to 6 feet tall. Cannas need lots of water and actually prefer wet feet, so be vigilant about keeping the container moist. Dracaena plants can grow upward of 10 feet tall in containers, and there are many varieties to choose from. They are not hardy and need to be moved indoors for the winter. In fact, many people choose to grow them solely as houseplants. When grown outdoors, they are fairly low maintenance and can handle somewhat shady conditions that many other plants can't tolerate. The dwarf Alberta spruce is a gorgeous conical evergreen with dense, bright green needles. It is a bit scratchy, so wear gloves when working around it. Choose a small tree when planting in a container. The term dwarf simply means it is slow growing, but the tree can reach 12 feet or taller. On the plus side, it can take around 25 years to mature. This plant requires a delicate balance of even moisture and good drainage when grown in a container. If you live in a dry climate, you might have to water frequently. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more interesting videos. And please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm.